James Lynch here from MiddleEasy. Happy to be joined by the Motown phenom, Kevin Lee, who's going to be making his Eagle FC debut March 11th against Diego Sanchez. Kevin, how's it going, man?
What's going on? Always good to talk to you, James.
Good to talk to you as well. I really appreciate that. You're in the car right now. Did you just come from practice or going to practice? Where am I getting you?
Yeah, I just came from practice. So, we're doing a lot of morning trainings these days. So we shortened it up, training once a day in the morning, and then I get the rest of the day free.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Whose decision was that? Like a mutual decision, or how did you come to that?
Yeah, it's kind of like the program already at Sanford. There's a really big team aspect here, so everybody kind of is all on one page. We all on one accord, which I like a lot better. I've been kind of lone wolfing it over in Vegas for the last 3-4 years, something like that. So I'm blending into the team nicely over here.
Yeah, how has that transition been? Because it's not only you doing your camp there, but I know you've pretty much moved over there too, right? Like, how's it been, and how long has it been too?
It's been about a month that I've been in Florida. It's been a big transition, but honestly, it just feels necessary. You sometimes you make these moves in life, and I don't know, it's hard, it's difficult, obviously, but I really feel like I've grown a lot as a person through it. I've just found my place a lot better. It feels a little bit more like home. I think I spent a little too long into the desert. I was in Vegas since I was 21 years old and kind of getting stuck in a comfort zone. And I finally broke out of that and feel a whole lot more balanced throughout it.
And those phone calls back home to Michigan a little bit easier being on the same time zone, right? So that's good too, which is awesome. Yes. And then as far as training partners and all that, because you're like an in-betweener, a 165er, who are you mainly getting to work with over at Sanford?
There's a lot of top level 70 pounders that they got. And especially outside of the UFC, which is interesting, you got Gilbert Burns, you got Jason Jackson, you got Titan FC champions, you got all these different champions in different organizations, which is good. We all helping sharpen each other up. I feel like we can just learn from each other and sharpen up, especially around my weight class. It seems like everything is coming together at the right time, even when you got guys like Kamaru Usman coming in and just watching the sparring and stuff. It seems like everybody's helping each other. There's a little bit of that competition out there, but it's all like in competition to make each other better. Yeah. We all know what we out here for.
Yeah, iron sharpen iron, which is great. And I know you also are doing some work with Firas Zahabi. How is that working? Because obviously he's in Canada. Are you just doing phone calls? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, phone calls and sending video back and forth and stuff like that. But honestly, it's still a work in progress. It's still something that we really need to dial in a little bit more. But as we do more and more of these camps and we get this underway, especially once Canada opens back up, and hopefully I can go back up there, I'm kind of looking forward to that at some point. But for now, we making best of what we got.
Yeah, no, it's glad it's all worked out great. And if I'm not mistaken, Henry, Firas Zahabi are going to be in your corner, and Dewey Cooper. My buddy Cole Shelton, I know, interviewed you the other day, gave me the tip, so that's good.
Yep, yeah, of course. Dewey is one of two people that I said I'll always have in my corner, no matter what. So it doesn't matter where I'm at. I could be training in China right now and not talking to the man for a year. I'm going to still call him and be like, hey, we got a fight on next date. Come on, show up. And he'll be right there.
I know you've been doing a lot of media heading into this fight. I know one of the things you mentioned is how, you're getting paid more than some of the UFC champs. I was curious, is that like just the flat rate that they're paying you, or is that including sponsorships? I was wondering about that.
It's the flat rate that they're paying me,
Nice.
But yeah, when you add the sponsors on top of it, like, it's looking nice. It's looking nice. Yeah. It's looking hella nice.
How has that been, though? I'm sure once you announced you went to Eagle FC, I'm sure you had sponsors hitting you up that probably couldn't before because of the regulations that the UFC had with just the one sponsor.
Yeah, them doing that kind of changed up the game a lot. It's not the same as what it used to be. I think people forgot the value that you have by putting logos and stuff on the shorts and how big that can be. I mean, we can all remember like these small companies blew up out of nowhere over just having like 10 or 12 guys, and just it's like etched into your memory forever. But it seems like it's something that people have forgot. So I've been real picky on who I'm choosing, and you know, I don't want to turn it into like a NASCAR thing where I'm just taking the top
Right.
bidder.
Yeah. You're like a walking billboard.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, I'm over that point. I think we passed that in the sport. One thing I do like is that we cleaned it up a lot. So you know, we gonna keep that same look, and I'm only gonna choose one or two good sponsors.
Let's talk about Diego Sanchez, someone I know you mentioned in our last interview could be the opponent. He is the opponent. How do you prepare for him? And the reason I mention that is because, you know, he was working with Joshua Fabia for a while. He was doing some really weird stuff. Like, what Diego are you expecting in this fight?
Honestly, I'm expecting the best Diego. Dude's a warrior. You know, anybody who knows the sport, anybody who's ever watched anything in MMA, as soon as you just mention Diego's name, you know what you in for. You know the type of fight that gonna get. You know, we never know how these fights are gonna go. That's one thing you love and hate about the sport. But you know, I'm sharpening up my blades. I'm tightening up my defense and everything, and I'm just expecting a bloody ass fight, like a good bloody fight. Whether I kick him in the head, whether I punch him with the right hand, I beat him up with the jab, or take him down, ground and pound, or however it's gonna go, it's gonna be bloody, and I'm in for a war, and Diego's the perfect opponent for that.
I don't know if you've taken a glance at the betting odds, but you're a big favorite going into this fight. I can't remember the last time you were such a big favorite in a fight. It's been a while because and this is something you've talked about, you fought really tough opposition in the UFC. Do you pay attention to that at all? Does that add a bit more pressure to the fight?
No, I don't pay attention to what the bet odds say. But I do pay attention to our skills, you know, and when you look at, you know, our techniques, and you look at even fight experience at this point, you know, I'm catching up to them. And then when you talk about youth, size, strength, speed, all those things are all in my favor. It makes it a more interesting fight. Sometimes those fights that you're definitely supposed to win are sometimes the hardest. And they're the ones that are going to text you more mentally than anything. Because physically, you know, I think I outshine them in every area. So this is going to be it's an interesting fight for me, in all aspects.
165. How's that cut going? 5 extra pounds and 170. How's everything going ahead of the fight?
It's smooth, you know. Them cuts to 55 were just honestly starting to be too much. You know, I got 30 fights, 18 in the UFC. That's hard, year after year after year after year, going from 185 as I'm sitting right now to 155. It gets too taxing on the body. And 170 felt like something that I had to just grow into a little bit more. In that last fight, I felt like I didn't really get my legs underneath me and really grow into it into the third round. But this one it's brand new, so we both kind of growing into it. You know, it's an even playing field, and I honestly feel like this is going to be the best chapter of my career. It's brand new. You know, that's I think people like underlooked that a little bit.
Yeah.
It's the first one, and it's going to be something that we etch into MMA history for a while. I feel like we're starting to get out the UFC history. You know, everybody kind of knows the UFC already. We know what it is. Now it's about building the sport of MMA, and this is going to be a big one towards that.
How do you envision the fight playing out? And the reason I bring this up, aside from, you know, I want to get your thoughts on the fight, is, you know, Diego's a pretty tough guy to finish. Just a few stoppage losses in his entire career. Does that change things in terms of the game plan and the approach?
Yeah, one of my things, I definitely want to stop him. I definitely just want to entertain the people that's there. You know, it's a smaller, like, VIP type of event, more upscale. So the people that are there are not going to be easily impressed, and those are the people that I'm really going after. It's not even so much about creating a highlight reel for social media and getting a bunch of numbers and all this other stuff. The people that are there are the most important people in the world. So it's going to be hard to impress them, but I'm going to make sure that I do, and that's by finishing Diego, which, like you said, not a lot of people have.
There's a big lightweight title fight coming up. One of the guys that you fought in that fight is Charles Oliveira. He's fighting Justin Gaethje May 7th. How do you envision that fight playing out? Because that's a really interesting one.
Yeah, I think Charles has the skills. It's just a matter of when Charles will slow down. It's a matter of how long his body can keep up, especially at this high octane that he's been burning. But Charles definitely has the skill to beat him in every area, including on the feet, where Gaethje stands the best chance.
So you think Charles is going to win then?
Yeah, yeah. It is just if I'm using my head, I think all signs point to Charles winning again. Especially with how tough he's proven in the last couple fights. It'd be hard to see Gaethje really breaking him at this point.
What did you make of the debut U.S. show for Eagle FC? Did you happen to catch it or watch it? I don't remember if you were there in person or not. What did you think?
Yeah, I watched it online. I was training at the time. I didn't get a chance to actually go to it. But production value was great. The fights themselves were a lot more competitive and um exciting than I thought they were going to be. I thought we were going to see some squash matches. I thought, okay, maybe it's a little bit lower level, but it just makes you like re-fall in love with the sport, and you just see like there's so many levels to it, and there's so many levels that are unexplored, and I feel like they did a great first event. This second one is going to take it to another level, and my next 4 fights will be down here in Miami with them, and I just see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The production was great, and we're giving the people what they want. The people want the blood. The people want to see the action. We animals at the end of the day. I was thinking this yesterday. I went to the Ye concert down here
Oh, nice.
in Miami, and you standing there and it's maybe 5,000 people. We all watching the house burn down, all the pyrotechnics, and we seeing all the production and everything. But if a fucking fight broke out, everybody would turn away from Ye and watch that. And I feel like that's what Eagle FC did with that first one, and it's just gonna get bigger from there. We're gonna get the people what they want. The people want to see some shit.
Since we last spoke, I think I asked you this last time, but how many fighters have been hitting you up saying, hey, what's it been like? Because I'm sure they're seeing how much you're getting paid. They're seeing sort of, Khabib really putting good time into this promotion and really building it up. How often are fighters hitting you up? You don't have to mention any names, but I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, there's been a lot. I'm about to go ahead and start taking percentages. I might just get more paid. It's been a lot. A lot of people. And I'm usually, I'm honest. So if you ask me a direct question, I give you a direct answer. So I feel like that's why people come to me a lot. But yeah, I got to start taking percentages off the top, or I'm about to start cutting management deals or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. And do you see the way things are going? I mean, you've been in, you've competed for the UFC. Do you see Eagle FC as a threat to these Bellators and these other promotions, just in the way they're doing things and the fact that they've got such a notable name behind it in Khabib and fighters like yourself?
Yeah, I think numbers wise, they could definitely do it.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers wise, they can outcompete these other organizations, especially in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
But I see it more being able to step outside the box, and compete, but in a different area to where even the UFC can't keep up with it. There's so many different avenues that you can stream things these days. I think that there's a lot of room to outcompete the UFC even in different areas that people don't necessarily realize, especially when you talk about a name like that known worldwide. We're not just talking about America here. We're talking about worldwide. So it's a global sport, and it's got a lot of room to grow.
Any talk about a potential title after this fight for 165? I know it's still pretty early, but is there any? I know ultimately you want to be a champion in the promotion. Has there been any talks of that?
Yeah, there'll be a title soon. But one fight at a time, and we'll kind of take it from there. I don't know if it'll be after this one, if I'll get one more, if it'll be at the end of the year or maybe in July, something like that. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. But yeah, they're going to start introducing titles real soon.
Gonna make a sharp turn here. Just wanted your thoughts on the whole thing that's happening with Joe Rogan right now. I know I believe you've been on Joe's show before. Just what do you make of what's happening to him right now?
Yeah, I think a lot of these politics that get played, it's a real shame, when you don't take someone for face value and you don't take them for their word. It's real easy just for the average person to just cling on to these quick, snappy little headlines and stuff like that. And it's a shame that our world has been like this. And especially when you take somebody who's only ever done good, even after that whole racism thing that he came up of him saying the N-word a bunch of times, and honestly him opening up and apologizing about it, which I give him a lot of respect for. Right after that, I heard a show where he had on a lawyer who got out 6 different black men that were locked up. So it's like, to me, actions speak louder than words. But the average person doesn't necessarily see that. They're not gonna. They didn't watch the whole show. They didn't know that he did this activism for the community. Um, so I think you can kind of pick and choose and take people's stuff out of context. uh it's a shame. It makes you kind of hate the shit, to be honest with you. It
Mhm.
makes you like hate doing it. And I've been on that wave anyway. Sometimes I hate being on social media. Sometimes I hate communicating with people because it can always be taken out of context. So it's like, maybe I should just do actions and not say anything. um Even though that's not where we want to be either. We want to, you got a voice. It's worth something. It's not always worth something bad, especially if you don't have no ill intention behind it.
Mhm.
But one day maybe we'll figure out a way to solve these type of issues. But one thing we can't do, I think, is turn our back on each other. Even when you do, like, make little mistakes or slip up, uh that comes in everybody's life. At some point, I'm gonna say some dumb shit. I
Mhm.
have said some dumb shit. um and it's real easy for people to write people off, and I think that's just a fucked up way to be, and it's just a fucked up culture.
Francis Ngannou, I don't know how much you still keep in touch with him. I know you've mentioned how, his issues with the UFC might have impacted your departure, but, with Francis, like, do you see this getting resolved with the UFC? Because I can't remember the last time we've had such a notable heavyweight champion, a guy who's been so successful in the cage and is clearly getting a lot of fans here, at odds with the UFC over pay. Do you think this will get resolved? Just your gut feeling.
I do. And I hope, honestly, that it gets resolved sooner than later. I hope that he doesn't, that they don't ruin this man's career, making him sit on the side, or however they're gonna try and do. I don't think they have much legal standpoint, but I think that a lot of big stuff will come out of this. I think we'll finally get some laws that they end up getting passed and get some protection for us as fighters, in one way or another, and that they will come to a resolution, whether it's getting a better deal with the UFC because he has these boxing deals out there and they have to match it, or however, or they'll let the man actually fulfill his dream and go box. He's not hurting nobody. He's not doing nothing wrong. Like, let the man work. Let him do what he's doing. But I just hope it comes to a clean resolution, and they don't, you know do what they gonna do.
And has it been tough for you as well? I know you and Markel, you guys go way back in terms of, him repping you and being a part of it. And he's kind of being dragged through this as well. Has that been tough? Because I'm sure you've wanted to say things, but then you don't want to put it out there because then people come after you. Like, how has that been, seeing one of your friends, one of your managers, be
Yep.
treated like this in the news?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, me and him talk about it. It's rough, but at the end of the day, the success is more important. And I heard a great quote: "People will forgive you for a lot of stuff, but they'll never forgive you for being successful." So he had to know that by winning these tough battles, and going into it the way that you are, and you're going against the grain, and you're really doing things that everybody's telling you not to do, that's the toughest road, but it honestly might be the most fulfilling at the end of the day. And we men, we here for our families. We here for a lot bigger than just somebody's opinion, that's across from you, that they really don't give a damn. He care about himself too. So at the end of the day, we'll do what's best for us, and we'll do what's best for our people.
Israel Adesanya, I know another kind of friend of yours. He just fought recently against Robert Whittaker. A lot of people feeling like that was a really close fight. How did you score that one? What did you think? Because I thought Adesanya won, but I see a lot of people saying that, if you go by the rules, Whittaker should have won.
Nah, yeah, I didn't see that. I thought Izzy won pretty handily. The best thing I liked about that fight is that they didn't put that much emphasis on the takedowns. I think that some people, yeah, they'll look at that and, oh, he got takedown, so he automatically won the round. Maybe 5 6 years ago that would have been the case. He would have lost that fight. But I'm glad that they're finally starting to look at it as the actual fight itself. And I thought that he won. I thought that he controlled the fight exactly how he wanted to,
Yeah,
and did everything he wanted to do.
And just last thing, we're hearing Khabib Nurmagomedov, your boss, I guess technically. There's some rumblings about him and GSP maybe doing some grappling. Any insight on that? Because I think that would be pretty awesome, and that's sort of a loophole that wouldn't be, sort of GSP doing like a boxing fight or an MMA fight.
Honestly, didn't hear about that.
Okay.
But it's interesting. It's interesting. It's different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not MMA. It's in a totally different arena. I don't even think you can really use that to say who would win in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's just totally different things. It's like who's a better basketball player? Okay, like let's let him go play football and find out. That's not really how that works, but it's interesting. It'll sell some. I see he's doing he did the little virtual fight with Max Holloway too. I'm kind of we've been talking about some virtual fights. But when I do it, I'd really be interested in doing a real fight in virtual reality, not just us playing a video game, like a real fight with real people but watching it virtually. If that makes sense.
Okay. I kind of trying to understand, but yeah, maybe I'll watch this back and I'll figure it out. I don't know. It seems a little interesting. I still don't get all that stuff, but
if it's a real fight, right?
Yeah.
In a green screen, and then you got people watching, 30,000
Oh,
people
I see. Okay. Yeah.
as virtual avatars watching it. I feel like that could be a lot of a different avenue that we can explore, and that's one thing I like about this. You said Khabib's gonna wrestle with GSP. It seems like he's open to exploring different avenues, so I fuck with it.
Who would win that? I mean, both guys if they were to grapple.
Submission only,
Yeah.
or rule set.
I think it would be submission only. I think
Submission only. I probably have to go with George. Submission only.
Mm-hmm.
Or to be a draw. Neither one will be able to submit. When you get two high level guys like that, it's
cancel
really,
each other out,
really hard to submit each other.
Yeah, I agree. And quickly, Keith, how's he doing? I'm sure he's sad his big brother has left him now that he's in Florida. But any update? Because I remember you told me last time he's a free agent. He's not with Bellator.
Yeah, he's still a free agent. He's still exploring his options. I think he's happy in life. He's making a whole lot of money outside of the cage. So,
Nice.
I'm happy for him. As my brother, I'm happy for him. Sometimes, us as fighters can put too much emphasis on this fighting shit. But there's a lot more to life, and he's expecting his daughter. He's happy, and I'm happy for him.
Kevin, thanks so much for doing this, man. I'm cutting into your downtime here today, so I really appreciate it. If there's anyone you want to thank, sponsors, social media, you name it, I'll give you the last word.
Shout out to Boohoo, man. You're gonna see him everywhere, and like I said, more sponsors on the way too. So eventually, we'll plug some more people. We'll see what's going on.